Hello book lovers, my name is Carrie and this is Spines and Spoilers. Today I want to do the Guilty Reader book tag. I looked everywhere and I couldn't find the original creator for this one, unfortunately. So if you know who originally did this one, please leave it in the comments and I'll make sure to credit them. First though, I usually start things off by talking about what I am reading and what I am drinking. I actually just filmed another video and then went on a walk and came back and decided I was going to film another one. And in that time I started Killer on the Road by Stephen Graham Jones. I'm not gonna lie, I had to stop it at one point because it starts off pretty graphic. I didn't expect it to just pop off like that, but it really did. And I have a relatively strong stomach, but there was one point where I legitimately had to stop it because I was getting nauseous. Like, I was able to start it again, but I had to jump forward like 15 seconds. Like, I can't do this. I just started this audiobook. What are you doing? Like, I love Stephen Graham Jones' work on average, but some of his stuff can kind of borderline on splatterpunk, which I have a tumultuous relationship with. The first question, though, for the Guilty Reader book tag is, have you ever regifted a book that you were given? And this is probably a divisive answer, but yes, I have. I have regifted a book that I was given, but only because I knew that the other person would get more out of it than I did, or I loved it so much that I needed to pass it on, generally because I had another copy. The next question is, have you ever said that you read a book when you hadn't? And the answer is yes. I mean, I feel like a lot of people did, but in school especially, whenever I went through a phase where I procrastinated and just got to the point where I couldn't finish a book. I think I did that with The Great Gatsby. I can't remember. I went back and read it later, but I'm pretty sure at the time I read half of it and then just didn't end up finishing the rest of it. And just kind of was flying by the seat of my pants. The next question is, have you ever borrowed a book and not returned it? And I wish I could say no, but I definitely have. I'm bad about this with my mom's books in particular. Unfortunately, I have a couple that I still need to return to her. But she and I have similar reading tastes, so we'll exchange books, you know. And she's done it too. Like, I've let her borrow books before and never gotten them back, and it's fine. I don't hold that against her, and I don't expect to get those books back. But yeah, I'm bad about that when it comes to my mom. Everyone else, I don't necessarily like borrowing books from because I know that I don't have the best memory, and I don't want to do that. But I think I'm pretty good about giving other people back their books. It's just my mom. The next question is, have you ever read a series out of order? And yes, I absolutely have. More than one, I'm pretty sure, but the one that comes to mind in particular, and I hate talking about it, but this was a hyperfixation for like 20 years of my life, so it's gonna keep coming up eventually. But the series, which cannot be named, I read the first one, and then I was ravenous for more. Like, I read ahead of the class. We were reading it for our 5th grade class, and I wasn't supposed to be reading them at all. Like, my dad kind of forbade it because witchcraft, and he was quite conservative and Christian. But I realized that I didn't have to tell him what I was reading. But yeah, read the first one ahead of the rest of the class, loved it so much that I went to the library and was just like, do you have any of the other ones? They didn't have the second one at the time, so I read the third one, and then I read the second one, and then I read the fourth, I think. I may have gone back and read the other ones in between that time. And then I just spent that whole summer afterwards rereading all of them because the 5th one hadn't come out yet. So yeah, have definitely read things out of order, and it worked out for the best because the third one at the time was my favorite, so it kind of kept me reading things. The next question is, have you ever spoiled a series for someone? And unfortunately, yes. It was my mom. My friend Megan, she was bad about flipping to the back of books and reading the last page, and apparently the last page of this particular book said that someone had died. I'm not going to say who it was because I'm not going to be a douche like that. Not now, anyway. But she called me after she did this because we were reading it at the exact same time, and usually I'm a faster reader than her, so I'll get to plot points quicker, but this time she was like, she had some information, and she spoiled it for me. And then my mom didn't understand why I was upset, and I told her, and she's like, oh, why would you tell me that? So yeah, completely ruined that one for her. The next question is, have you ever dog-eared a book? You're gonna fight me, but yes, I have. Middle school and high school in particular, that was just my default, because otherwise I'd just have to use like slips of paper and stuff like that. Look, as a teenager in particular, I would lose things. I would get bookmarks, and I fully had the intention of using them, but I would immediately lose them. And then I tried using slips of paper, and they would fall out. So I just started dog-earing them, and was like, this way I'll actually be able to remember where I am. And it worked. I definitely got some glares, but it worked. The next question is interesting. It's, have you ever told someone that you don't own a book when you do? I don't understand why someone would do this, so no, I don't understand the mentality or the rationale. If you understand, please leave that in the comments below, because I legitimately do not understand. The next question is, have you ever told someone that you haven't read a book when you have? Also, don't understand why you would do this. No, I haven't. I don't understand. Like, my brain does not compute. I don't understand why anyone would do that. The next question is, have you ever skipped a chapter in a book? And the answer is unfortunately absolutely yes. Whenever I was reading Game of Thrones, I think it was like the third or fourth books, there ended up being a character's perspective that I could not stand. I loathed. And I read it, for quite a while, and then I realized it wasn't important to the plot. And I looked it up online, and it was like, there was a couple of things that ended up being important, and like, that was it. And it's like, I'm not gonna torture myself and make myself read from this perspective if I don't have to, and it's not actually important. The last question is, have you ever badmouthed a book that you actually liked? And again, the answer is absolutely yes. There is technically a series which I love, which I can't talk about, because the author is a piece of shit. And while I still love the series itself, I do see a lot of things wrong with it, and I will talk shit about it, honestly. Like, if I'm talking to you in person, I will talk shit about it. But that doesn't mean that I don't love the actual series, and that it didn't basically help form who I am as a person today. It's a very complicated relationship in this case, because, fuck that author. With everything in my being, she's a piece of shit. And has only proven over time that she's getting worse and worse. I am not the type of person, though, that you will ever find coming to the defense of that series or that author. It's not gonna happen at this point. It's like, no, yeah, drag it. It's fine. I don't care how influential it was on my life. There's technically another question, but it's asking me to tag someone, and I've tried doing that, and it doesn't do much. For now, I'm going to leave it untagged, because people generally just don't seem to care. If you want to do this tag, you should. I think these things are pretty fun, especially when I don't feel particularly up for filming other things for whatever reason. That being said, thank you so much for watching. I don't know if anyone actually enjoys watching these tag videos, so please feel free to tell me below if you do or you don't, or you prefer to see some other kind of content. My filming time is a little more limited these days, which is another reason that I've been doing more tags, because I can do those quicker. But I hope that you guys are staying safe out there and having a good summer. If you want to like and share and subscribe and comment, do all that stuff, that's up to you. Knock yourself out if that's your thing. But what is important to me, what is most important, is that you remember to love yourself, please. And I know that I say that at the end of every video, but I do mean it, because sometimes we all need that little reminder. But anyway, bye!